Donald Trump is going to meet with Henry Kissinger to, quote, bolster his foreign policy credentials. Oh, wow. So everybody needs to stop and think about this for a second. Donald Trump contradicted himself like a motherfucker in the primary season. So half the time he would say, not only do we need to attack ISIS, and we do need to attack them, but also we got to attack the families. So massacre civilians in the Middle East on purpose. Do terrorism, but don't call it terrorism. That was half the shit he said. And the other half the time he'd say, I want nothing to do with Syria. I want to stay out of Syria. Let Vladimir Putin attack ISIS, and we need to stay here and rebuild our infrastructure because we have crumbling infrastructure. Now, I came out at the time and I told you guys, I'm on the record, you go back, you watch the videos, I said it. I said, no, if you think this is a strike against him, wrong. This is something that's going to help him because contradictions in a Republican primary don't mean anything. When you have that faux straight shooter, tell it like it is thing going on, and you assert one day, let's do more war, and then the next day, let's do less war and rebuild infrastructure, people aren't going to say, hey, those things don't match up. They're going to say, I want to read into what Donald Trump said, whatever I want him to believe. And they will superimpose onto you what they believe, and they'll say he represents me. And that's exactly what happened with Donald Trump. So some people think, oh my God, no, he was going to be super non-interventionist. No, only half the time he said that. The other half the time he said he'd be more interventionist. And one of the things that Hillary Clinton was ripe for attacking was her close relationship with Henry Kissinger. The dude is a fucking war criminal. He's a war criminal. And Bernie Sanders was like, I would never take advice from that guy. That guy should be in jail. He attacked Hillary over this during the race, and he was right to. Well, now, Donald Trump had that ability. He could have said, Henry Kissinger, war criminal buddy, look who she's palling around with, war criminal friends over here. Instead of doing that, what did he do? He bowed to the Republican establishment who said, okay, look, you want to be our nominee and you want our support, you got to do what is now a standard thing, a traditional thing. Everybody goes to Henry Kissinger and you kiss his ring. Kiss the ring of the war criminal because that's what this Republican Party is represented by. And obviously, Hillary Clinton is represented by him also. She loves him. They fucking vacation. Hillary has vacationed with Henry Kissinger. Unbelievable. So, listen to how the Post explains this because I think this is so telling about, honestly, the rise of new media and how well we're doing versus how terrible mainstream media is doing and traditional media is doing. So this is from the Washington Post. They explain, quote, Trump's conferring with Kissinger underscores not only how he is building relationships with Republican elders, but how he leans toward a more realist view of international affairs. Wait, what? So the Washington Post doesn't say, oh, he's going to kiss the ring of Henry Kissinger, and here are a list of Henry Kissinger's crimes and how he's just flat out a war criminal. They don't do that. They say, no, he leans towards a more realist view of international affairs. Apparently, being pro-genocide is realism. It's realism. No, it's not realism, and you guys are a fucking embarrassment to journalism. By the way, at the beginning of doing SecularTalk, I would never in a million years refer to myself as that. Like, oh, no, I'm just a political commentator, basically. A pundit, commentator, whatever you want to call it. Today, I don't think it's unfair to actually call me a reporter or a journalist, because I think we do a much better job than these clowns. You're going to talk about a war criminal and say, he has a realist view. That is propaganda 101 for the American empire is what that is. I would never make such a mistake. So maybe I am a journalist. I don't know. But for those of you who don't know and who might say, Kyle, maybe you're blowing this out of proportion. I don't know what you're talking about. Henry Kissinger's a name I've heard forever. I heard that maybe he did some good things here and there, so calm down. What's the matter with you? What's your problem? I'll tell you what my problem is. Here's what Henry Kissinger did. Vox explains here. He's responsible for carpet bombing Cambodia, supporting Pakistan's genocide in Bangladesh, literally green-lighting it, and green-lighting the Argentinian dictatorship's murderous crackdown on dissidents. Okay, now again, you can hear the people who are skeptical say, yeah, okay, that's maybe Code Pink's interpretation of it, but what's the reality? Give me some real hardcore facts here. Okay, in the carpet bombing of Cambodia that he ordered, it killed up to 500,000 civilians. In fact, that was the point. They said, yeah, no, we're going to go after the civilians. And this guy's realist foreign policy. He's a hero. Did you know that the White House recently honored him in a ceremony? You don't get to do that and then also tell the world, hey, we believe in humanitarianism and altruism and we want to spread democracy and freedom. Oh, do you really? Then why are you honoring genocidal maniacs? Riddle me that. More here. He also, in his supporting of Pakistan's genocide in Bangladesh, by the way, he supported it so much that not only did he greenlight it, there was a general who was like, I don't think we should do this. He had that guy fired. He supported genocide. How many people died in that? Up to 3 million people. It was Pakistan's genocide, and I think it was called East Pakistan at the time. Now it's called Bangladesh. They slaughtered up to 3 million people with his support. With his support. And also, he was responsible for leading the regime change during the Cold War where we kept overthrowing democratic countries and putting in fascist right-wing authoritarians. As we said to the world, it's cool, because democracy. No. You overthrew a democracy and put in a fascist, but we overthrew him because democracy. That doesn't make any sense! That doesn't make any sense. You literally overthrew the democracy. You didn't uphold democracy. You overthrew the democracy and put in a fascist, and now you're saying you don't believe in fascism, you believe in democracy. That makes no sense. You're insulting our intelligence. But now we have 2 candidates, Hillary Clinton on the Democratic side, Donald Trump on the Republican side, who are like, oh, realism in foreign policy, regime change, genocide, carpet bombing, killing civilians, realism! Because here's the main point. When we do terrorism, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. It's not terrorism when we do it because we are by definition correct. Because we're Americans. We're so special. You're so special that when you do bad things, well, we meant well. And doesn't really count, so if you call it out, well, you must be some sort of pussy anti-American liberal. Or you're objective and you care about facts, and you're not an idiot who swallowed whole the propaganda that's been pumped into your head from day one.